eating expired meal prep out of a client's trash, selling novelty cereal boxes at a political convention. I mean, this is what it actually looks like to survive the brutal gauntlet of starting a small business.
It really is. It's not glamorous at all.
No, not at all. So welcome to this custom-tailored deep dive made specifically for you. We're asking you to just forget the whole cinematic montage of a genius founder having a eureka moment in a pristine garage. Today, we're tearing down that mythology.
Absolutely.
We're giving you the ultimate, completely BS-free beginner's masterclass on transitioning from a burnt-out worker to a strategic business owner.
Because honestly, the reality of entrepreneurship is terrifyingly murky. I mean, the numbers are grim. Up to 98% of businesses fail within the first 5 years.
98%. That's just wild.
Right. Or, taking the most optimistic view possible, at least half of them are completely gone by year 5. Just half of all those dreams vanishing into thin air.
Which is exactly why today's exploration is so crucial. We're pulling from the battle-tested, completely unglamorous mechanics of survival used by entrepreneurs like Simon Squibb, who built 19 companies, and Alex Hormozi, who scaled his first gym from absolute nothing at age 24.
2 incredible examples of just sheer resilience.
Oh, for sure. So let's jump straight into the spark that starts it all. Now, conventional business school wisdom dictates that you must find a market gap, right? You have to invent the next completely original concept.
Which is what everyone thinks.
Exactly. But Simon Squibb's philosophy completely upends that. He argues that starting a business isn't about finding an empty niche at all. It's about following an undeniable passion, even if the market is totally crowded.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating here is the sheer mechanics of how passion actually outcompetes originality.
Right.
When Squibb launched his creative agency, Fluid, there were literally 500 competitors in his immediate market doing the exact same thing.
Right, 500 in his immediate market.
Literally 500. So on paper, entering a saturated market with an unoriginal idea is, it's a terrible move. But his competitive advantage wasn't the what, it was the how and the why.
Because all those 500 competitors, they treated their agencies like a job. Squibb treated his like an absolute obsession.
Precisely that. Intrinsic motivation fundamentally changes your operational behavior. Because he was obsessed, he pushed boundaries, he explored early tech, like email marketing, way before it was standard, and he just, he outcared the competition.
He just wanted it more.
Yeah, passion isn't just this warm, fuzzy feeling. It is an endurance mechanism. It sustains your effort when the initial excitement fades and the actual grueling work begins.
And that leads right into the concept of naivety. Brian Lofrumento's strategy is literally to start before you're ready. He advocates for weaponizing your own ignorance in the early days.
I love that concept because if we connect this to the bigger picture of human psychology, total awareness is actually a massive liability for a beginner.
Oh, totally. If you know how hard it's going to be, you'd never start.
Exactly. If you sit down and map out every single obstacle, every tax implication, every algorithm change, every potential lawsuit, your brain's self-preservation instinct kicks in, and you just experience total paralysis. Naivety acts as a psychological shield. It permits you to take that very first step.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because I am all for passion and naivety, but isn't a business fueled purely by passion and ignorance just an incredibly expensive hobby?
Well, it can be.
How does this survive contact with reality? It feels like going on a cross-country road trip with just a compass instead of a GPS. Eventually, you're going to drive straight into a ditch.
That is a brilliant analogy, honestly. But consider this, a rigid GPS, like a traditional, heavily researched 20-page business plan, is often what actually drives the company into the ditch.
Oh, really? How so?
Because rigid plans assume the terrain of the market won't change. But the market always changes. Lofrumento relies on what he calls just-in-time learning.
Just-in-time learning. I like the sound of that.
Right, so you don't need to know how to manage $1 million payroll on day one. You just need to know how to get your very first customer. You learn about the specific problem staring you right in the face, solve it, and then move to the next one.
Which perfectly explains Squibb's alternative to the business plan. The mind map.
Yes, the mind map.
Instead of this linear, fragile document predicting 5 years of revenue, he uses a fluid, liquid web of possibilities. He actually put his core mission, free humanity, right in the center. And from that single point, he just branched out.
Endlessly branched out.
Right. One branch became a podcast. The podcast branched into a network of guests. That branched into brand partnerships. He even had a completely random branch for merchandising, which just sat there for years before suddenly evolving into a successful sweet brand called Bussins.
See, the mechanism of the mind map is adaptability. It costs literally nothing to draw, but it fundamentally shifts how you view your company. You aren't locked into a single point of failure.
So if one thing fails, you don't lose everything.
Exactly. If the podcast branch hits a wall, you don't fold the company. You simply pour your energy into the brand partnership branch. You are actively exploring the terrain as it reveals itself, staying entirely nimble.
But okay, a fluid mind map only protects your psychology. It does not pay your commercial lease. When that harsh reality check arrives, the default instinct for most beginners is to go hunting for venture capital or, take out massive loans. Yet Alex Hormozi's origin story completely destroys that assumption.
Yeah, this is where we transition from theory to raw, gritty survival.
So Hormozi saved $50,000 to open his first gym at age 24. He paid for a mastermind group, spent the bulk of the cash on the physical build out of the space, and on opening day, he had exactly $6,000 left in his bank account.
And his rent for the very first month was $4,972.
Right. He was essentially out of cash before the doors even opened.
He was one bad week away from personal bankruptcy. And when you have zero runway like that, you have to completely eliminate your ego. Hormozi survived through the absolute mastery of bartering,
which is so old school, but so effective.
He traded the only asset he had, his gym memberships, and his own time as a trainer, for everything he desperately needed to just keep the lights on.
Yeah, he traded memberships to get his gym clean. He traded training sessions for IT services just so he could acquire a functional printer.
A printer.
He even bartered to get his personal laundry done. But the most extreme example, the one that perfectly illustrates what it actually takes to defy that 98% failure rate, involves his food.
Oh yeah, this is wild.
Right. Tell them about the meal prep.
So he bartered with a client who ran a meal prep business. But he didn't just trade for fresh food. He negotiated to take the food that other clients forgot to pick up.
The leftovers.
Not just leftovers. The meals that had technically passed their expiration date and couldn't be legally sold anymore. He ate expired meal prep food out of the trash, basically, just to keep his personal expenses at zero while he built his business.
That is the ultimate definition of zero ego.
Utterly zero ego.
But as resourceful as bartering is, it's a survival tactic, not a growth mechanism. The massive mistake Hormozi initially made, which he thankfully quickly corrected, was waiting to deliver a perfect service before trying to sell it.
Which is the traditional fatal mindset. Build the product, perfect it, and then try to find an audience. Hormozi realized that approach absorbs all your cash before you even know if the market cares.
So what's the shift?
The operational shift is pre-sales over pre-building. You market and sell the vision as fast as possible, collect the actual cash up front, and delay the delivery to ethically fund your startup costs.
So it's basically like Hollywood releasing a movie trailer. You get people incredibly hyped, and you have them buying opening night tickets months in advance, before the CGI is even fully rendered on the film.
That is a perfect analogy.
You use their excitement to validate the project.
Exactly. Hormozi would run targeted ads in new neighborhoods, pre-sell memberships for a gym that was still literally just concrete and drywall, and use that incoming revenue to buy the actual equipment.
That's genius. And if the ads didn't convert?
If they didn't convert, he knew the market was dead before he signed a restricted 5-year lease, saving himself total financial ruin.
Wow. And Airbnb did the exact same thing when they couldn't get funding. I mean, during the 2008 political conventions, they bought cheap generic cereal, put it in novelty boxes labeled Obama O's and Captain McCain's, and sold them for $40 a pop.
$40 for a box of cereal.
Yeah. They used the cash from political cereal to fund their software startup.
Which is amazing, but this raises an important question, though.
Okay, what's that?
If founders can be this incredibly resourceful, if they can barter for their survival, pre-sell their services, and hustle novelty cereal to fund software, why do half of them still lose everything by year 5?
Yeah. We are entering the danger zone now. Because it's not just a lack of capital, it's a fundamental misunderstanding of what a business actually is.
It comes down to a deep psychological trap, outlined by Michael Gerber in his book, The E-Myth Revisited. It is the trap of the technician.
Let's look at the story of Lisa's soap shop. So Lisa is incredibly talented at making handmade soap. Her friends love it, her house smells amazing, and everyone tells her she needs to open a business.
So it's the classic story.
Right. So she signs a lease downtown. 6 months later, Lisa is completely drowning. She's dealing with supply chain delays, broken point-of-sale systems, tax compliance, and managing some teenagers she hired to run the register.
All the stuff she didn't sign up for.
Exactly. And the real tragedy, she hasn't touched a bar of soap in weeks, and she is starting to hate the very thing she used to love.
Yeah, Lisa fell victim to the entrepreneurial myth. This is the false, deeply ingrained belief that if you understand the technical work of a business, like baking the cake, writing the code, or making the soap, you automatically understand how to run a business that does that technical work.
But they aren't the same.
They're completely opposed skill sets.
So what does this all mean? It's like assuming you are fully equipped to run an international restaurant empire simply because you know how to bake a killer homemade lasagna.
That's the perfect way to look at it. Gerber explains that every founder is actually wearing 3 distinct, constantly warring hats.
Okay, what are they?
First, you have the entrepreneur. That's the visionary who lives in the future, dreaming of growth and change. Second, you have the manager. The manager lives in the past, craving order, creating spreadsheets, and trying to keep everything exactly the same.
And the third?
And finally, the technician. The technician lives entirely in the present. They just want to put their head down and make the lasagna.
And the conflict is that the entrepreneur's vision creates chaos for the manager, and both of them are constantly interrupting the technician from doing the actual work.
Exactly.
So most beginners who start as technicians just double down. They work harder. They end up building themselves an exhausting 80-hour-a-week job rather than a business. So how does someone actually escape this cycle?
The escape velocity comes from what Gerber calls franchise thinking.
Franchise thinking.
You have to deliberately move the business through stages. From infancy, where the owner does everything, to adolescence, where you hire help but inevitably micromanage them, to the ultimate goal of maturity.
And reaching maturity requires systems. You have to stop acting like the star quarterback and start acting like the head coach.
Yes, you document every single microprocess in the company as if it were a flawless recipe. How the phone is answered on the second ring, how the soap is packaged, how a customer complaint is resolved. You build a business that operates with the exact, predictable consistency of a McDonald's franchise.
Right.
The goal is that a 16-year-old with absolutely zero prior experience can walk in, read your documentation, and produce the exact same high-quality result as you. You engineer the business to run independently of your technical input.
But a perfectly engineered system is a ghost town if no one is walking through the door to buy what you're selling. Which brings us to customer psychology. We all know the classic Steve Jobs shorthand, right? He didn't sell the microchip inside the iPhone. He sold an identity to the crazy ones.
He sold the sizzle, not the steak.
Exactly. But Alex Hormozi takes this concept and applies a brutal, incredibly effective framework to it. Sell the vacation, not the flight.
The mechanics of this are brilliant. Imagine a prospective customer is deeply unhappy with their current fitness level. Hormozi likens their current state to standing in the pouring rain in Baltimore.
Ugh, miserable.
Exactly. They desperately want to be in Maui, sitting on a white sand beach with a drink in their hand. Maui is the ultimate desired outcome.
Now think about how an amateur salesperson approaches this. They spend all their time pitching the flight. They say, to get you to Maui, we are going to wake up at 4 a.m., wait in a massive TSA security line, cram you into a middle seat next to a screaming baby, and feed you terrible airplane food.
Yeah, in fitness terms, they are selling the 5 a.m. alarms, the grueling squats, the sore muscles, and the restrictive meal prep.
And absolutely no one wants to buy that flight.
Nobody. Yet, that is exactly what most businesses do. They list the painful features of their service. Hormozi's framework demands that you completely ignore the flight in your marketing. You focus entirely on amplifying the pain of raining in Baltimore and painting a vivid, undeniable picture of the dream in Maui.
But wait, I have to push back on this. Doesn't this border on outright manipulation? I mean, you are selling this pristine Maui dream when you, as the business owner, know for a fact the customer has to sweat and bleed through the grueling plane flight to actually get there. Are we just tricking people into buying?
It's a crucial distinction. It isn't manipulation if the destination is real. It is the active management of human psychology to help a customer overcome their own inertia and take an action that will genuinely change their life.
Okay, I hear that.
But, and this is the mandatory caveat, you must back up that emotional pitch with undeniable, overwhelming proofs.
Right, you can't just promise Maui and deliver a puddle.
Exactly. Hormozi manufactured this proof physically in his gyms. He went to a dollar store, bought hundreds of cheap $1 picture frames and plastered every square inch of his sales office with before and after photos of his successful clients.
Just totally surrounded them.
Yeah, when a hesitant prospect walked in, they were physically surrounded by undeniable evidence that Maui was real.
Wow.
Furthermore, he removed the remaining psychological friction by offering unconditional guarantees, like, if you do the work and don't get $500 of value in 6 weeks, I will hand you your money back. He absorbs all the risk.
And Simon Squibb reinforces this with the sheer, relentless persistence required in sales. Like, top-tier salespeople do not pitch a dream once and walk away. Squibb personally reached out to specific, high-value dream clients every single month for 9 consecutive years before finally landing them.
9 years.
9 years. That kind of extreme persistence ties directly into the final and perhaps most important psychological shift a founder must make.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the absolute bedrock of scaling a massive business is the mastery of delayed gratification.
Squibb points out that the defining characteristic of the most successful modern companies like Facebook or Instagram was their willingness to delay monetization for years.
Yes.
They prioritized building immense, compounding brand value and user trust over extracting a quick dollar. Squibb applied this personally, He did his first major agency project entirely for free.
Which completely violates the modern hustle culture playbook of monetizing every waking second.
It does, but because he over-delivered without asking for a dime up front, that client felt so indebted and impressed that they stayed with his agency for 16 years and became his biggest referral engine. He traded a short-term invoice for a long-term empire.
It's brilliant. And Hormozi learned this exact same lesson through painful failure, resulting in his golden operational rule. Nail it before you scale it.
Nail it before you scale it.
Yeah. Driven by early success and ego, he opened a second gym location entirely too fast. He poured $250,000 into outfitting it with glass walls, granite countertops, premium equipment, completely misunderstanding why his first gym was actually successful.
He thought customers were buying luxury aesthetics.
Right, but they were actually buying community and accountability.
Exactly.
So he instituted a new mandate for delayed gratification. Never open a second location, and never launch a new massive marketing channel until the original system has grown for 6 consecutive months without any of your daily technical involvement.
Wow, 6 months.
Yes, if you are bursting at the seams, do not break the system by cramming more people in. Simply raise the price. You must delay the thrill of expansion to ensure your operational foundation is bulletproof.
And you cannot build a bulletproof foundation without a team you can implicitly trust. Which brings us to Simon Squibb's fascinating strategy for finding the right partners. He uses what he calls the Bernie Madoff test.
Oh, this is a ruthless philosophical filter.
Totally ruthless. So when interviewing potential co-founders or key executives, he asks them, would you accept 40 years of unimaginable wealth, private jets, and global luxury if it came with a 100% guarantee that on your 70th birthday, you would be exposed as a massive fraud, your reputation ruined, and your family name disgraced?
And the shocking part is that half the people say yes.
Half. But to connect this back to what you were just talking about, this test is the ultimate gauge of delayed gratification.
Absolutely.
If someone says yes to that deal, they are telling you their internal operating system prioritizes short-term, selfish extraction over long-term, sustainable reputation. You cannot build a generational asset with someone who thinks like that.
You absolutely cannot. And once you have the right people, the founder's identity must undergo a final shift. Hormozi realized that to scale, he had to let go of his ego as the MVP salesperson.
Right.
He had to stop being the guy who swoops in to save every deal and transition into being the best sales teacher. He had to empower his team.
And he defines empowerment brilliantly. He says you must pair authority with responsibility. You don't just assign tasks, you delegate outcomes.
Yes.
If you put a manager in charge of a location, you give them a $1,000 discretionary budget. You look them in the eye and say, if a pipe bursts, do not call me, call a plumber. You force them to operate the system you build.
That is exactly how you finalize the escape from the technician trap.
Wow. We have covered incredible ground today. We started with the realization that passion and naivety, structured through a fluid mind map, actually outpace rigid planning. We explored the gritty reality of bartering your way out of zero cash and funding your growth through aggressive pre-sales.
We dissected the fatal trap of the technician, revealing the urgent necessity to build documented systems and adopt franchise thinking.
We learned how to hack customer psychology by selling the Maui vacation rather than the grueling flight, backing it up with undeniable physical proof. And finally, we saw how embracing delayed gratification and shifting your identity from the MVP to the head coach allows you to build a team that actually scales.
It is the complete mechanical blueprint for defying that 98% failure rate.
And I want to speak directly to you as we wrap this up. The recurring truth woven through all of this is that business is mechanically simple, but human psychology makes it complicated. Your ultimate goal isn't to glorify the 80-hour work week or burn yourself out proving how hard you can hustle.
No, not at all.
The goal is to build an asset that serves your market, absolutely, but more importantly, an asset that eventually buys back your own time.
Which leaves us with a rather profound question to consider as you step back into your day.
What's that?
Well, we have spent this entire deep dive focusing on how to build a machine that perfectly runs without you. But once you achieve that, once the systems are flawless, the operators are hailing a burst pipes, and your time is finally entirely your own.
What is the ultimate role of the founder? Is achieving financial freedom the end of the entrepreneurial journey? Or does stepping away from the machine simply reveal the beginning of your actual life's purpose? A perfectly running machine and the murky, terrifying, beautiful journey to build it. We'll leave it right there. Until next time.